Yeah, yeah. Peace, 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 peace. Yeah. Yeah. So we got. I think we got the. I think the brothers on here now. Let me see. No, neither one of them. No, neither one of y'all had audio. We just waiting on the audio. We just waiting on the audio. Peace. So neither one of y'all. Ain't neither one of y'all connected audio. So there's no audio. We can't hear y'all yet. We just waiting on y'all to connect audio. We are live though. We are live. We are in the building. We just waiting on audio. Peace. Peace, peace, peace. Yep. No audio yet. No audio. Zoom say it's still connecting your audio. So I think the Revel V5G got audio already. Brother, we just waiting on your audio. Can you hear us? Put a thumbs up if you can hear us. I think we should be good on our audio.
Yeah, I don't think he can hear us.
Right. So I think Revel 5G can hear us. They got audio.
Peace.
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 Okay, yeah, they can hear me now.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Y'all riding a CLRU right for the minute, head to the rest. So got in the dark for a little bit.
Oh, yeah, you all good. Please introduce yourself for the platform if you can.
Yeah, this be the God, Seventruth Allah.
Okay, peace to the God. I come in the name of Minister Freedom Allah, right here with my man IC Allah.
Peace.
True indeed. Peace, great God.
Peace to the God. So, I was happy to God, and he invited you. What fam invited you? Our Muslim brother over here invited you. In the context of what was talked about in the video that we was questioning about, and really my question was for him, because I don't think it was you that ever stated that you were a firstborn of Detroit. I think that was kind of him put that on you.
True indeed.
Yeah.
And what it is I didn't, it's almost like not saying nothing, kind of going with it. So it didn't add to the saying something like, yo, you the greatest God that ever existed, and you don't say nothing, then it's kind of like, you just let it fly. And when somebody say, hey, whoa, and it's like, okay, clarification needs to be given and made knowledge born. So
Absolutely, man, and that's why and that was me. I commented on YouTube, kind of making it clear, because somebody in the knowledge, you definitely can see why something like that would be taken disrespectful. I mean, especially we guys who got knowledge from those firstborns of Detroit.
Right,
you
part of self though. Yeah, true indeed, part of self though, because I noticed that it's 3 of us on here. Isn't there not supposed to be the guy Fahiym and
God Fahiym is on here.
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all 2 in the same room.
Yes, we are. Absolutely. Yes, we are. He has to unmute himself.
Y'all can hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I was hearing y'all introduce yourselves and everything, and then I was about to introduce myself, but we started building. I was like, am I on?
Oh yeah. Come on through.
Oh, okay. Now, I'll be the God, Day Son, Day Son Allah, aka Brother Fahiym, of course, with the Muslim God Cipher, network, you know what I mean? And, yeah, I'm happy to be here with the brothers tonight building, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, we all 5%ers. We all teach that the supreme being black man is Allah. And, it's good that we could get together and build. You know what I'm saying? I brought the God Seventruth with me, because of course I'm from New York. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. You know what I mean? But I don't really know nothing about Detroit. You know what I mean? I've been through maybe once or twice just on a pass through. You know what I mean? But I brought him on as well because he's one of my Muslim God brothers that at least know Detroit. And not to patronize the brothers or anything like that, to which I would saying, but when the God told me at first, I just thought it was like, because I was like, wow, the early 90s, I would have thought it was some 5%ers out there, you know what I'm saying, making knowledge born. But the God was like, 93, 94, he didn't see anybody really out there with no flag, no on the main strip. What he said was Jefferson or yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I just was like, wow, because, like in New York, of course, it's been around since the 60s. And, if we go from when the father departed in 69, from 10 years from that, 79, that's 10 years in New York. So by like 1980, 81, 82, 83, all the way up to 85, it was all over, not just New York, but the whole tri-state area. And there was guards, in Philly and up in Boston, up in the Mass area up there, so that's why when the guard said that, I was like, wow, I would have thought by the 90s, definitely Detroit would have had some sort of, 5% of presence, whether it be M.G.C or Muslim Guard or whatever, just 5%ers, but he said no. So that was the reason why, I brought the guard on with me too, so that he can just, clear that up with y'all, you know what I mean? Because in my mind, I seen him as a firstborn. So y'all can deal with that. You know what I mean? But yes, sir. I'm glad to be on your program, brother. Go ahead. Y'all can continue though.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I would ask you what makes somebody a firstborn? Because I mean, maybe you may not. Do you understand what that means?
Well, of course we know, the father, had his first students that he taught, his first teenagers. But apart from that, just outside of New York, like in Brooklyn, we got a firstborn who first one to get the knowledge and come to, take it and spread it throughout the city. And pretty much as it spread throughout, the southeastern seaboard and everything, all up in
absolutely,
it went out to Detroit. So
and that's my point, bro. When you say firstborn, that means you taught somebody.
Right. Yeah, I was about to get to that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, just like the elders of the 5%ers, they all came through the mosque in some way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, and had interactions with F.O.I for the most part, because the brother was also a 5%er who was, active in the mosque or knew about the Nation of Islam cipher. To me, I looked at it as, well, wow, he was like a firstborn out there, bringing the knowledge from the mosque to the streets. You know what I'm saying? So
I would say this, bro. All the elders of the 5%ers didn't come out of the Nation of Islam.
Which ones didn't?
The firstborns.
No, well, again, I'm not talking about, when I say the firstborns, I'm talking about.
I'm saying the first fruit. Go ahead.
No. Well, let me clarify what I'm saying. I'm saying the elders who left the mosque, Brother Clarence, brother, all of those brothers, the father, whom we call the father today, all of those brothers, the elders, they went through the mosque, they were in the mosque in some way, shape, or form. They were all F.O.I. When they left the mosque, they went to the streets and they produced students.
And not all of them,
was the first one he taught. This one was so because the God was, NOI and 5%. In my mind, and again, he didn't tell me this. This was just something that I, in my mind. That's why I'm not putting that on the God.
Yeah.
This is the way I looked at it. Well, he's like one of the elders out there. He's the first God out there. He's the, you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, to your point, bro, and to that point, I would say, in order for you to be a God, you have to teach somebody. So I didn't hear him say that. He could tell his own history. He didn't make knowledge born and teach nobody out here. Now, to your second point, hold on. To your second point is that, all of our elders didn't come out the mosque. Abu Shahid, he left. Ibika went back. Old Man Justice was never in the mosque. So what elders of ours came out the mosque other than Allah? And Allah was only with us for less than 5 years. So the real growth and development of this nation, bro, that's got us here is attributed to the firstborns. Okay? Who none of them was in the Nation of Islam. So everybody know, if you don't know anything about Abu Shahid history, he came back around in the 80s and in the 70s.
Around the Million Man March.
Around the Million Man March, okay? Ibika, he returned home as a Muslim. He was never among us and took us to where we are right now. And Justice was never in the mosque. Never. He was never a member of the Nation of Islam, brother. So, to your point, as we talk about our elders, none of our elders were Muslims.
Go
ahead, please.
Well, I was just gonna say, number one, in the video that me and the God did, he didn't. I don't know if he did, but I can't remember in the video if he mentioned anything about him teaching any students or building with any guards out there. So, but however, I do know the God. You know what I'm saying? And I do know the God teaches wherever he goes, wherever he's at.
And I'm not debating that, brother. You said he was the firstborn of D-Mecca.
You said what defines an elder, or what defines a firstborn, or what the right.
Somebody
so
who laid the
that he was a 5%er, or he is a 5%er who was in Detroit back in 93, 94, and he did build with other brothers and teach students.
Is that true? Is that true, brother?
You would say that he was a 5%er in regards to coming from the Nation of Islam?
Yes, sir.
And having the lessons.
Please let him speak on his history, God. The brother. That's what we talking about. His history.
You asking me, or you asking?
No.
I'm just
my man was about to add on to his history, God. That's why I was about to let him. He just hopped on his computer.
This newest one coming in. That's me coming on.
I just added you.
Okay, it's still connecting. I know you can probably hear me on my phone.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. All right. Join with the audio. Okay. Let me. Yeah. It's echoing. Okay.
So, in my point though, bro, what I was gonna say, even what you saying, okay, even if he was a 5%, let's say he was in the Nation of Islam, to be a firstborn, meaning you got to plant the flag, meaning you got to go teach 9 people, or have some students. Now, maybe he could tell me his history about him teaching somebody in Detroit 1994, but if I heard the video correctly...
If you're getting about the point, you
ain't got hope that I was about to say something else. If I remember the video correctly that I watched with the brother didn't get his 120 until after he left Detroit and went to Atlanta.
Now, Cypher.
Okay, that's why I said maybe I heard wrong. But go ahead, I Bill.
Okay, hold on.
I was just going to say real quick, I'm going to let the go ahead on and add on or respond to you, but just to your other point, all of the elders, even Old Man Justice, was at some point in his life.
No, he wasn't, brother.
He also had children in the mosque too.
Brother.
One of his sons, I believe his name is Elijah. He named, of course, after the messenger. It was is also currently, I believe, in the Nation of Islam as well.
I know brothers
I just wanted to make that quick point, but I'll come.
Do you know? I know several brothers who walk with Old Man Justice. And I could pull up a video right now of the God, Allah Real, rest in paradise. The great God from Medina, Allah Real, who was Old Man Justice baby. That was Old Man Justice man. And there's an entire video of him on YouTube saying from his own mouth, Justice was never a Muslim. So unless you about to call Allah Real a liar, whom was in this nation since the 60s, God, we might as well stop talking about that. Justice was never in the mosque.
We're going to come back to it. I'm going to let the brother go ahead and add on. I'm going to show him proof. We're going to come back to it.
Okay. Now, as I stated before, receiving lessons started in 92. Was not in the nation, wasn't registered, anything of that nature. Just brother started giving me lessons. He was not in the city of Detroit. He was in the military, and I would get mine through the mail. There's a host and spotlighted your video for everyone. All right. Oh, he's sending me my lessons, and I'm studying. February of 1994. We swam through the lessons. Challenged me in 120. Now, at the time, that was my enlightener, Kundallah. Stayed in Detroit. I lived there all my life, so he told me about getting a 7. And
He told you about what?
getting a number 7. Pull this up right quick.
Getting a number 7.
Yeah, and
now the individual that you talking about, he was a Muslim guy.
no sir.
Okay.
He wasn't registered either.
He was just he had the knowledge though.
He had a book of life.
Okay.
And as he explained to me, it was left on his bunk in the military by someone who had shipped out. And didn't really leave him instructions or whatever, so I don't know how he got instructions enough for him to knowledge 120 and then pass it on to me. So as I went through it, like I said, and did my lessons and became 120. Again, everywhere I'm, showing up, places or whatnot, I had never heard anybody talking about other 5%ers, and he really didn't. He told me about New York, but he never said that they were here, there, this, that, and the other. So I'm just taking in mind.
So you was in Detroit at that particular time.
I was in Detroit for practically all of my life until October of 1994.
Now, up at that point, had you been? What part of the city you from?
What part of the city am I from? Lived on Benatar, Anfield, Warren. Lived on Fairmount, Gratiot, 8 Mile. Albany, Mound, 7 Mile.
Okay. You don't have to go through all of that. I understand. So you was familiar with the downtown East Jefferson area, right?
Absolutely. Born in the Brewsters, born and raised.
And so during that time, you hadn't seen any of the gods? Were you familiar with that area?
I was familiar with the area, but no, never seen it. No.
Okay. Go ahead, guy. If you
and walk and look, not riding in the car or whatnot. I rode the bus, I walked, and rode a bike during that time.
No doubt.
And down Jefferson, from the Renaissance all the way back to East Lawn or Fairview, Kirchville, St. Jean, all up through there. That was my walking daily, and especially on that side of the street. If I'd have known that it was something that was pertaining to what I was doing, because over on the west side you had the Mother Isa's place. On Livernois, you had the Shrine of the Black Madonna. Was it further down Livernois? You had the Brotherhood Club. You had Hip Hop's Rap Premiere on Puritan. Of course, you got Temple #1 in Highland Park on Hamilton. You got Mosque #1 on Wyoming and near Finkel, east side. You may have seen brothers out there selling on the car. Let's see. Hart Plaza, where they had the festivals. The Renaissance, where they had the movies. The Adams. Let's see. You had the Fox Theater.
No, we get it.
No, God, we get that. I'm not debating that what you were or were not in D-Mecca. So, So, bro, when you was here before you left in October, did you teach anybody that the 120 that you had?
The only one that I basically was teaching at that particular time was my wisdom, because again, Fahiym, who was part of Phi Bella, I was doing my damnedest to try to get that over to him, but it just, he wasn't into that. You know, he just wouldn't gravitate towards it. You know, he wouldn't gravitate towards when I was trying to, you know, show him some of the books about the Easter. Wasn't taking to that. Let it just, you know, whatever. When it came down to 5%, God and all that, wasn't trying to hear that either. Mud, who was another member of the Phi Bella, he did take to it. He did, but he was taking to it to where he had somebody teaching him about chakras, about burning incense to where they lasted 6 miles in the air and did something for the community type stuff. And he did say that they had their own 22 degrees of blessings that they had, as well as somebody gave him the supreme half an alphabet. That wasn't me, but he did have that. And he had a little bit of the Moorish Science Temple, and a little bit of the F.O.I, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and they called themselves, or whatever they were dealing with, it was the aura.
Right. No. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can see that. So what I was
just
saying.
Me and my wisdom at that time is who I was teaching, and my Lightner's wife, she sent down to me from Atlanta at the time. Before I got there, she sent me down what they had earth lessons to teach her. So that's mostly what I was getting to her before I left. And before I left, we broke up. Not over that, but we just, you know, we broke up.
No doubt. So to the brother's point, let me see this real right here, bro. To your point, brother. And to just for clarity, man, and just for understanding, you know, in 1994, man, there was indeed a law school in D-Mecca, the Street Academy, at 8840 East Jefferson, right across the street from the Jeffersonian and Irma Henderson Park.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And you know, there were.
When I say correct, I'm correcting that.
Where you at?
You speak of that area.
Absolutely. Right next to where, if you know anything about that area right now, some McDonald's right next to there. You know what I mean? So there was an entire host of gods. Okay, and in fact, firstborns. You know, the what we know as the firstborns of D-Mecca, that included among most notably my man Dr. Bahu. You know what I mean? Who was the first god with him and his brown seed, my man Master Risan Allahu Akbar, and divine culture and mathematics, and you know, gods like Ra-Self, Shabil, Knowledge Born Jabbar, Prince Supreme, Magnetic. I mean, it was a whole host of them, you know. And M.G.C came out here. That was in 94 too. You say that same year. Just to build with the gods and took them through certain things. You know, about their flag, about how to hold class, about how to hold a universal rally, and you know, so just to that point, fam. It ain't. And I'm not taking anything away.
M.G.C named it D-Mecca.
Right. You know, and I was about to say that. That's what the name. That was the first place that we see the name D-Mecca.
Right.
From M.G.C.
Because at that time, no, we wasn't. I mean, from my understanding or knowledge, and I can't say my understanding, from my knowledge, never had heard, you know, anything else but, you know, Detroit.
Yeah,
so
yeah. And the gods, those crew of gods, then went out to teach and, you know, lay down the first and second and, you know, third and to where now some of the third and going on fourth generation gods and earths from this cipher.
Now, can I ask, where did they teach?
God, they was on the east side. They was on the east and the west side. You know, you had guys like Shabil, Risan. They was all over the west side and the east side. You know, the God that I'm sitting right here next to, you know, he got knowledge from those gods in that school, and he was on the west side. So the gods was all over Detroit. You know what I mean? You know, I'm not taking away that you were there. I'm just speaking in reference to the point about a firstborn. You know what I mean?
Right.
And just in the point that honestly, because when we talk about the history, bro, and it's not a takeaway from you, you know, you had these men who I'm talking about, they sacrificed their life, their time, years, months, and days, and held the school down and took every student that came in and took the people walking in off the street and posted up out on the corner, held the universal parliaments.
And another thing I think that's important to mention is that, you know, when we're speaking of a law's 5%.
Right.
You know, when we say a law, we're talking about the man that we refer to as our father. You know, and that's why the distinction is made. A law's 5%. You know, we're not here to debate whether or not the lessons, you know, were out and about amongst the people. You know, so of course you could have had the lessons. You know, could have got the lessons from, you know, someone else, and had them passed down without being in the mosques. You know, but however, that was something that was being done. But however, what wasn't being done was what Allah did in '64.
Yeah, in Detroit.
When he left the mosque and cracked the 7th seal. You understand what I'm saying? And that's where you have the birth of Allah's 5%. And so it seems as if, you know, when I hear what you brothers are saying, it's almost like it's one and the same. Where, you know, the lessons, you know, and you know, part of the foundation of what we're teaching, you know, we have similarities, you know, that's the same in certain aspects. But however, we all know that we are Allah's 5%ers. You understand what I'm saying? You're a 5%er. I'm not denying that. But you have the Nation of Islam flag on your chest. You understand what I'm saying?
Now. Right now.
I mean, but okay, so when I have, you know, I had this flag on all the time. It's not right now. It's all the time. Yeah. Another flag don't replace this flag.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
Not about replacing, no.
When I go in the mosque, I don't salute that flag. You understand what I'm saying? It's one flag. You know what I'm saying? For our nation. And right. I'm sure that you brothers understand that. But it seems like, you know what I'm saying, you be striving to bleed the two together.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
And I mean, bro,
and the father made sure that he made distinctions. You know what I'm saying?
And bro, I think the brother said on his, I was checking a little bit of your video the other day where you said, they told you in the mosque, stay away from them brothers. You feel what I'm saying? Just like in 60. No. He know what I'm talking about. The brother, that's why he's smiling. He knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And that.
This was 93, 94.
Oh, beautiful.
That's peace. That's not our flag.
Uh-oh.
Not a flag.
Oh, okay.
I mean, but
yeah.
Okay, you got another.
Didn't nobody say it was a flag. I'm saying this is what I was told to do when I got 120. So now, everywhere I'm going, I had this on. Had my black BDU jacket, BDU pants, boots in the summertime with the cap. No, I didn't have a flag. I had, had the 7, and going around, trying this, seeing that, going here, going there, and.
I mean, I get that. You were civilized.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You was a 5%er. You had the lessons. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You had the tune. I get that.
Yeah.
And had I seen that universal flag on any building in Detroit, I'd have definitely went in.
Okay.
And I would have known those guys in D-Mecca, Detroit, D-Mecca at that time.
Absolutely, and bro, I think that I would have definitely agree with you on that. If I was you at that time, I would have too. Only reason I was making a distinction because, fam was making the point to call you a firstborn because just for the sake that you were there and that you had the knowledge. And all that I'm saying is, well, we know even when we talk about the firstborns of Mecca, they consider, even the God, Knowledge Divine, one of the firstborns of Philly, he made a great point on the video I watched to him. He said that the God, not him, who said that? That was Allah Shah. He was saying that the gods of the 70s was the ones who started calling them the firstborns. So my point in saying that was they only got the title firstborn because of their works, because of they taught, because they was the first ones to plant the flag. Just like they called Dumar, one of the firstborn. He helped bring knowledge to, Massachusetts, because he went out there while he was in college, and certain gods, Tamari and all of them gods, they all get it from, the God. They all come through Dumar. Just like when we talk about Dr. Bahu and we talk about all of these brothers that we talking about, they the ones who taught and who held the parliaments and who held the rallies and taught us, the next generation, this is how you hold rally. This is how you hold civilization class. You know what I mean? So that's why I say the distinction of when you talk about firstborn, you know what I mean, and what is a firstborn. And that's why, to your point, even why I was saying that earlier, why those who we consider our elders, and the first fruit and the gods who was there. But I mean, I'm not. I definitely wasn't denying that you would have connected with the gods if you had knew or was in tune at that time. That wasn't that. I just was trying to clear the confusion.
Right. I just I wanted to just go back to something that the guard was saying. He mentioned like about the flags, the difference in the flags, and y'all can hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. The guard just mentioned about the flags, and I was just gonna say, like, with these lessons, or with the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the way we see it in the Nation of Islam basically is anything bearing the sun, moon, and the stars basically represents the universe. It represents a universal family. So we kind of see that as our flag too. We see every flag that bears that description, if you will, that we see that as ours because it represents a universal nation. You know what I'm saying? So whether it be a 7, whether it be a star and a crescent, whether it be, whatever it is. So even the God having that 7, that's almost like wearing a flag in a sense, because, it represents one having knowledge of self and who sees himself as God. Anybody who has a universal flag on and who knows and has an understanding of their 120 lessons, if we saw the brother coming down the street with that on, okay, well, we know that's not the universal flag that the father, but we see a 7 and the bead and automatically we're going to be like, the brother must have knowledge of self, or the brother must know.
I can agree with you totally understand where you're coming from. Because I know that.
Right. But just one more quick point just about the flag. When the elders, you know what I'm saying? And again, from what I was taught, you know what I'm saying, all of the elders, from, like I said, Brother Clarence, 13X, who we call the father, Brother John, 37X, which is, Abu Shahid, Brother Eugene, 32X, who is Habika or Rasul, and Brother James, 109X, who is for Cypher Akbar, or whom we say is Old Man Justice.
That's false.
Like, we have records in Muhammad. See, that's one thing about Muhammad's mosque. Like, there's records. So, like, he's been through the Nation of Islam in some way, shape, or form, like all Muslim gods, all original 5%ers.
And there's no proof of
that.
And
the thing is, when they left the mosque, these elders, they took with them the national, which is the flag of the Nation of Islam. Because why did they take that? Well, because they understand that they gods, they Allah. And anything bearing the universal symbol of the sun, moon, and stars, that belongs to them. They knew that. So the only reason why they had to put that flag down and switch and get their own individual flag now was because of the, just the discrepancies and the trouble that the young teenagers back then were getting into. So the father said, put the Muslim God names to the side. put the Muslim names to the side. I say Muslim God names because when you understand or know the 99 attributes of Allah, most glorified and exalted, brothers had names like, Rahman and Rahim and you know what I'm saying? So he said, put the Muslim God names to the side, basically, and take names from the supreme alphabet or mathematics that I gave you because we don't want you, I'm paraphrasing, we don't want you bringing down, trouble or causing trouble, shedding a bad light on the Muslims. Because at that time, all of the 5%ers knew and understood that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the holy Muslim. He was the real Muslim. They knew and understood that. There's videos with some of the young brothers back in the 60s referring to the messenger as the holy Muslim.
However, you also sugarcoating it, bro. It wasn't that. We know the history. It wasn't because Allah said that because, he didn't want y'all to make the Nation of Islam look bad. Muslims was attacking gods. Gods was fighting Muslims. Is this
widely documented? Because I've never heard of it.
This is documented. This is documented from those that were there. As well as, that's why I would say, even from the records that I've seen from brothers who walked with Justice and spent time with him, he said from his own mouth he was never a Muslim. So, and even when you talk about the flag, even when you talk about that, the universal flag was something that was created by Universal Shamgar in 1965, right?
Yes, sir.
So, besides for the one who was there was Justice, okay? Shaheed said out his own mouth, he caught a beef and he left. Ibika went back to the mosque. This is a known history. So who was there? As well as there's no 7 on the flag of the Nation of Islam. Elijah knew about the science of the 7. Why did he put it on front of the flag? Why did they use a red background and a white moon and a white star? He didn't use a 7. He didn't use any points, nor did he use gold and black. So what I'm saying is this science was something that came from the mind of the man known as Universal Shamgar, okay, the firstborn from Medina. He never was in the Nation of Islam. So all that narrative you running like this science and all of this stuff came from the mind of these men who left the mosque. Nah, the cream came from the children. Shamgar. And he came with a whole nother science. The 7, the points, the angles, the moon, the star. Then, we can go all into the flag, but then he showed it to the father-in-law, said, my man, that's right and exact. He showed him a couple other ones. He said, no, that's too much, son. They ain't ready for that. He said, no, we're going to go with this one. So,
But you made a statement just a little while ago. You said Elijah knew about the 7, but he didn't put it in the flag. Is that right?
Yeah.
So I got a question when you
go ahead.
Look.
Okay.
I just want to make that quick point because the brother said that this came from us. This didn't come from Elijah. This came from us. But although Elijah didn't put that on his flag, Elijah had a mathematics in the Nation of Islam. There's a mathematics.
And how does it go?
I didn't know that when I was a 5%.
How does it go? How does it go? What is it? Because I know it. Do you?
Of course I know it. I mean, I'm Nation of Islam.
What I'm saying is,
what is it?
What is it? Because I know where you're going, and my point is that was Elijah's answer to the problem, correct? Is mathematics that you're talking about, right?
What are they? I want to hear.
Oh, go. I'm sorry.
No. I was just gonna say real quick. From what I heard from Abu Shahid's mouth was that
ain't what came from Elijah.
If he said he might, but Shahid knew it though. God, he might. Hold on, see where he go. Go ahead, bro. What you say?
No, I was just gonna say I heard from Abu Shahid where he said that the mathematics was crafted. The father, the elders, of the 5% nation, they crafted the supreme mathematics and the supreme alphabet using the Book of Life and the mathematics in the Nation of Islam, and one more thing, what was it? The problem book, the mathematics of Islam, and one more thing was used. But however, if Shamgar added the 7 to his flag, you know, the star and the crescent, and he presented that to the father, and the father seen it and saw that it was right and exact, well, 9 times out of 10, you know, the father knows that's right and exact because he was taught that from the mosque. He was taught that science of numerology and, you know, what 1 is, what 2 is, what 3 is, what 4 represents, what 7 represents, what...
Bro, wait a minute. You skipping something. You skipping the key. You missing the key point, though, is that what Abu Shahid told you, I think, and then what you have to realize is you got a lot of people who walked with the father, and the father told them his account of how he dealt with it. And to this day, they call Abu Shahid a goddamn lie. So, I mean, you know, and I'm not taking nothing from Shahid because I walked with him, but I know the science that he was dealing with, and was that I'm not going to, you have to understand this, bro, that was the school that they came from, that they did. Allah walked through the mosque. However, he came with his own understanding. Because, yeah, like you said, Elijah, the science was this. We know that they was dealing with what's known as problem number 13, bro, in the problem book. Okay, where it talk about how many words does an average man speak well, okay? And the whole science is Elijah had answers those questions, okay? And the understanding in that answer was the understanding that the God came with was supreme mathematics. Out of that understanding, my point is that Elijah had his own understanding. He had a different answer than the father. Elijah's, and this is a jewel you can go study because I was, you know, see if you knew it. Elijah came with wisdom, knowledge, understanding, justice, freedom, justice, equality. This is what Elijah came with. Elijah came with his own, whole different science. Then Allah got it, and he said, yo, this is how I see it. He said wisdom can't go before knowledge. That's out of order. And he said it's knowledge, wisdom, understanding. And he said it ain't justice, it's power. So I'm saying that to say that Allah came with his own understanding, his own answer, and then taught his understanding to the youth. Shamgar, when he was dealing with the 7, he wasn't dealing with Elijah. He was dealing with what Allah told him. That 7 is God. He wasn't talking about, we did for what? You have to understand, and we talking about 65, bro, where the Muslims was attacking the young gods. That's where you get the history where Black Messiah had to go to Belleville and tell the father, and the father told him to go to the Muslim restaurant and ask for Captain Yusuf, and told him to leave my sons alone. And then when the Messiah came back, that's when Allah gave him the name Black Messiah, because he was the messenger. He came with it. He delivered the message. And the law said from the window, give back the Muslim name. So I'm just saying to say, based off of that, why would Shamgar be dealing with anything Elijah was talking about when he was walking with the man? So,
okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, God. I'll come back. Go ahead, 7. I know you've been holding for a minute. Go ahead.
Okay. I was watching, and I'm sure y'all might have watched it too, Wu-Tang Saga, Season 2. And during that, they was sending their ideas to someone who was trying to draw up a logo for the Wu-Tang so that they could put it on their album. Put the information in, he drew it up, and he was coming up with all these things, and it was just a whole bunch. And it was good, but it didn't hit like that. I asked him to say that, or give this reference, because universal God, Sham God, is on us these things he's getting from Father Allah. And he's putting this down on paper, or he putting it down in art form, designing something. You got the science of the star, you got the science of the crescent, you got the science of the seven, you got the science of the devil's world. You got these different points, these lessons. You got the 16 shades of black. And all this here stuff coming in. So to just say he just came up with it out of nowhere.
We didn't say that.
No, we
There's
didn't
no
say that.
mystery God in that.
Who said that?
We didn't say that, bro.
Who said that?
Well, pardon yourself, I didn't say y'all verbally said those things. What I'm saying is to give that look to where it's like, well, the universal sharing guy, he wasn't using it. It was what he got from the Father. Well, what he got from the Father had all that information that he was getting, he was able to draw it up and then put it out in the form that he did. So therefore, yeah, you got the crescent. Yeah, you got the star. Yeah, you got all these things, and including the seven, and where it was positioned, and all this came from his design. So it ain't that, okay, that was just completely cut off, meaning whatever was gotten out of the nation, that was just cut off, and this is just all fresh and new.
No, we're saying you just said it. No, that flag design came from the mind of universal Sham God Allah.
What information he was getting and teachings that he was getting
that came from the creativity.
Allah.
That came from the creativity.
Yeah.
That came from the creativity of his mind.
Right.
Of his mind.
Right.
That was his, not Elijah's.
Right. That's the point.
I didn't say it was Elijah. What
Okay.
I'm saying
Okay. So I mean,
he was getting
that's
that
what we're
information
saying.
from Father Allah. First, he getting that information from Father Allah.
He got that information from himself. He got that information from himself. He was a scientist in his own right.
He was.
He was a scientist in his own right.
He was.
He was very intelligent
he was.
at that day and time.
Man.
He was a hell of a scientist. He had math students.
He was. I'm talking about a bad boy.
So he was the architect. He was the architect of that.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly, 100%. Yeah, he had knowledge that he had gained from before that time. It didn't just download into his head right then and there. But that creativity, that design, that is universal Sham God, and that's the flag of our nation that was established by our Father, Allah. That flag was established by Allah.
Go ahead. Yeah, he was taught by. Yes, he was, God.
Was he in communications?
He was taught by First Born ABG.
Yeah, he was taught by ABG, but he was definitely in contact with him on a regular basis. Absolutely.
Okay. Now, there was also a conversation that was built on that Father Allah had walked with Universal Sham God, and he drew him up to a point where he was looking out into the face of the universe during this conversation.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that story. Yeah.
Now, so what I'm saying is the very same thing.
We're not here to debate all that.
Okay.
See, we're not here to debate that. We already know our history. We're not here to have you tell us our history. We know our history.
Yeah. Well, I think what it is, God, I think you're missing the point. Because
no one's debating it.
What we're saying is that's our flag. That's our flag. And that's the bottom line.
No. And I think a lot of it, we're really saying the same thing. We get your point. Yeah. No. Well, what it is, you may be missing what the point that he's making, which is that he's attributing the creation and the things that are the unique creations that come from the minds of God to the messenger and to the nation of Islam. The point that we're making, and you're making this same point as well, is that these gods' creativity match with what Allah was bringing with. Because he just didn't come with the lessons. Because, in my opinion, without the math and the alphabets, you just a puppet with the lessons anyway. So he gave the math and the alphabets with the lessons, and you see a whole new world unlock. So I'm just saying to say that, to attribute the universal flag, our universal flag, as well as, you know, the creations of ours, to the Nation of Islam is not only not right and exact, it's lightweight as slap in the face. You know what I mean? Even where the brother, even Wakil, he was making a point that the term D-Mecca, that comes from the mosque. And I said, no, it don't. That's erroneous. That's not right.
Okay,
you know, so you know,
Wakil's not here to speak
absolutely. But no, and I wasn't trying to talk about him. I just was making my point about taking the things that are culturally significant and that came from the creativity of a nucleus and a new mind of gods that from Allah, separate from the influence of the Nation of Islam. They wasn't in the ranks. They wasn't in the M.G.C class and the F.O.I class. They wasn't in the rank and file. They wasn't abiding by the restrictive law. They wasn't wearing the uniforms and doing none of the cultural practices of the Nation of Islam. They had bonded in a unique cultural nucleus outside of that. Allah said the Nation of Islam was his womb, was like a big fat pussy for him, because that's where it came, where it popped out for him. So what you see in the streets is this whole new thing, you know. So that's the point that I'm making. That Elijah, it wasn't time for Elijah to come with a 7 and put it in the middle of his flag.
I'm glad you said that.
It wasn't time for that.
I'm glad you said that.
It wasn't time. And I know that because Elijah didn't break the 7th seal. Allah did. Elijah was the messenger to prophesy, to bring the message that Allah was coming. Honestly. That's just my personal seat, but I'm just saying, I know, you know, you can add on. You more than welcome to add on, but you know, that's just my seat on that.
I mean, that could be your own personal seed, but you know, is it right and exact? That's the question. You know, like we teach in the Nation of Islam that, you know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you know, like he's the first begotten of the dead so-called Negroes, you know, so he's the one who basically, you know, broke the seal, and no scholars or no body is worthy to, you know what I'm saying? What's the scripture? I think in the book of Revelations it talks about it. But yeah, he's the one who basically heralds the coming of, you know, the gods, basically. You know what I'm saying? Well, really, and when I say coming, I mean really the presence. He's the one that heralds the presence of the God. John the Baptist, that particular character, you know, whom in the Nation of Islam we would say would be like a Marcus Garvey, you know, who they say is the father of nationalism, you know, Pan-Africanism, you know, of course, Noble Drew Ali, who kind of opened our eyes a little bit to the black man as God, and you know, the black man has his own Afrocentric culture, and they were the first ones to kind of open our eyes a little bit. But you remember in the scriptures when they asked John the Baptist, "Are you him?" You know, and he said, "No, I'm not him.
Absolutely.
I'm the one, you know, who's only making the way straight for the one coming after me." So the one coming after him is Elijah, who is spoken of in the last book of the Old Testament in the scriptures, the book of Malachi, where it says in chapter 4, verse 6, I believe it is, that, you know, behold, I bring you Elijah, or I'll send you Elijah before the great and dreadful day of the Lord, lest I come and smite the earth with the curse. So now when you see Jesus, this is according to how, you know, the 5%, the Nation of Islam, how we teach.
Yeah. So
Jesus of the scripture, that Jesus represents a people. So Elijah is the God singular, but the people are Elijah or the God as a whole. Let
me add on to that, because what we would, and I agree with you on that Elijah was indeed the messenger. Okay. Now what we see is why I call the law the break. He broke the seal. The last seal was going to be the God seal. Okay. In those days, if you wasn't following the restrictive law of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you couldn't get access to those teachings. If you wasn't a registered Muslim in the Nation of Islam. Okay? So, you talked about Jesus and how he prophesied the coming of Jesus. Allah was the 13th man. He had his students. The first one, his honorable name was Matthew. So, he became later became the Black Messiah. So I say that to say we teach that the Father was the new black Jesus, who came in the last days to break the seal, bring the teachings out the mosque, and free the cipher, so that anybody could get it. Because it's now that you see the spread of knowledge then takes an upturn going into the 60s and the 70s with the birth of mass communication and hip hop, and the spread of knowledge throughout the world. And at that foundation was the gods who taught in the cipher, who freed those teachers and took it to the world. So I'm just saying that to say, to add on with the point, like this, we there, you know what I mean? I'm not knocking the messenger. I just would say that, you know, the Father did something that they wouldn't do, and that's where you see the difference in the science of the flag, man. You know what I mean? It was for a different time.
Right. Let me just say, you know, like as 5%ers in the Nation of Islam, I'm gonna just tell you, just to go back a little bit to the statement you made about, you know, when I was building with this brother, and you know, he made a statement about stay away from those brothers or whatever. You know, just to go back to that, it's like in Muhammad's mosque, you know, in the temple of Islam, in the Nation of Islam, there's a strict discipline. You know what I'm saying? And me, I'm thankful for the Father. You know, I say Alhamdulillah, you know, for, you know, Abu Allah, you know, Father Allah, you know, for coming to us, because a drug dealer like me probably would have never been, you know, listening to no Elijah Muhammad or none of that type of stuff, because I was too busy out here in the streets, you know what I'm saying, doing what I do. So the Father was able to bring it all the way down. You know, the messenger had junior F.O.I in the Nation of Islam, teenagers that were in the mosque back in the 1930s, 40s, 50s. You know, that was the teenagers was there. The Father wasn't the first to teach the teenagers. However, the Father was successful in bringing the message even a step under just the average teenagers in the street, but to the unruly teenagers in the street, the problem children.
Absolutely.
You know, who were always getting into, you know, criminal activities, such as myself, going to prison, and, you know, so we're thankful for the Father for that. However, when we come into the Nation of Islam, we understand that the Father was almost like a baby in this knowledge.
How you figure?
Let me explain. What do I mean? Well, we're understanding that with these lessons for gods like yourself and the God that's with you. I'm sure y'all brothers been studying 25, 30 years. You know, y'all probably been studying some years. I done been studying these teachings almost 30 years. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was studying over 40 years. Master Fard Muhammad, over 42 years, you know, like to deliver us. Minister Farrakhan, 60 some odd years.
I mean, well,
the father, say it again?
I said, don't not account that he was still a grown man when he came amongst the gods. And has still...
Who you talking about?
Allah. Allah. Yeah.
Well, you see...
He had went to the military. He had learned a whole lot of stuff, and I mean, you know, I think all of that, homie, because at the same time, to say he was a baby, man, I mean, that's you. I mean,
no, and again, I'm not. That's not there because remember, I'm the Father. I'm a 5%er, so I don't want you to think you disrespect. No, we love the Father. We respect the Father. You know, again, alhamdulillah, you know, for his coming to us. But what I'm saying is that it takes years to develop in these teachings. First, you have to break the discipline. You have to break the niggardliness, rather, and get the discipline. That takes time for some gods to do. And when we're talking about in terms of spirituality or enlightenment, getting the knowledge of yourself, physical age on an individual has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with this.
No, ain't nobody saying that.
I've seen brothers that was 25 years old who got knowledge of self stand up and deal with brothers that's in their 40s still walking around here confused.
No, so I mean,
what.
so I'm saying, based off of that, what are you using? What unit are you using to measure this? Are you using time and study of the knowledge?
Exactly, and development in the knowledge.
So
even the Caucasian man, as our lesson say, it takes him 35 to 50 years.
So what do you think about Brother Malcolm X? Do you think he was a great scholar?
I think he was a great scholar, but Brother Malcolm, again, the discipline wasn't fully broken in Malcolm X.
Brother,
Malcolm X still had some of that nigga.
What I would say this, brother, let me say this. Who dedicated more temples in the Nation of Islam than Malcolm X? Nobody. Nobody. To this day. Nobody in the Nation of Islam started more temples than Malcolm X. Okay? And he did that shit positive, right and exact.
Who else did?
Who laid that foundation?
I
mean, if anybody,
well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad left the foundation on how to build and set up a mosque.
I'm saying, no, you missing me. The Malcolm X, from his tenure coming into the Nation of Islam, dedicated over almost 20 temples. So what I'm saying is, he did that shit in like a 10-year span, 5 to 10 year span. From him coming home, going through, becoming student minister, rising to the ranks that he did. So I'm saying, you can't measure a person's knowledge or a person's power or a person's degree based off of time studied. I think that Allah had a supreme understanding that was able to fit the time and fit the day in the moment that he was in. You know what I mean? Well, to where
let me just say, let me just add this though to your equation, just to your equation, so you could consider this point as well. I mean, Malcolm was an eloquent speaker, you know, and we know that dudes that can speak eloquently and they can, you know, flow with they can quote 120 off the top of the dome, and they'll attract individuals, but the thing is, will those individuals be devout to their studies? Will they keep up studying?
And brother, if I was to say, if I had to take account, one of Malcolm's, one of his, if not best student, was the man who later became known as Allah. You know what I'm saying? So, and I've been told that they met.
You said that was one of his best students?
They met regularly. They spent time together. On a regular basis.
I was taught. That's not the history I was taught.
Yeah, no. I was taught that history by some folks that was there, and we can build build with those people. But yeah, they spent time together.
Yeah, we don't have to build on that because I heard that the two of them weren't too fond of each other. And Brother Malcolm, out of his own mouth, once made the statement that Brother Clarence would fare better out in the streets, because he kept getting into infractions in the mosque.
I was told when Malcolm
fraternizing with the 85%, with the lost found. Again, Jesus of the scriptures, he was around the gamblers and the prostitutes and the robbers and the whoever. Jesus was around these people in the scriptures, but one of the true characteristics of a God, a Christ figure, one who Elijah produces from that one God, coming many gods, is that discipline to be around that type of activity, but not indulge in that type of activity.
I would even different brothers. I've heard Abu say that. I've heard different guys that's still around now. You know, when Malcolm left the mosque, they would get together on a regular basis on Friday and have coffee until Malcolm's assassination. So they got together. After when Malcolm left the mosque, he was one of his best students. You know what I mean? So I would say that Allah, to your point, Allah, from what I've been told by his sons, was a very eloquent speaker, had a supreme understanding, and was a master teacher, man. Had a supreme mind. So I mean, I say that to say,
I don't disagree with that.
Well, and my point is that you can't, until my point, you can't show me many individuals or any other individual. I mean, we can name a few who have come close, but none on like a knowledge base who have taught and whose teachings have continued to spread and teach throughout the ghettos and throughout the hells, like Allah. You know what I mean? Like these teachers, here we are. We sitting here, you know, almost 60 years later. I know. I mean, you know, I'm not saying with guys that's outside the mosque, no Nation of Islam influence, and that's still speaking in His name. You understand what I'm saying? About Allah. And you know, I don't really call him the Father. I don't really say that because that wasn't his name. You understand what I'm saying? His name was Allah. That's what he said his name was. So you know, I mean, I would just say that to his understanding. I mean, I haven't seen nobody surpass that. I haven't seen nobody teach and capture hundreds of thousands of youth in the boroughs of New York. You know, besides, and I'm not in the negative ciphers, in the devilish ciphers. That's devilish, man. Of course, that's gonna attract niggas. That's the wide path. All that gangbanging shit, that's some follower shit. But on some...
Have you heard of Minister Farrakhan?
But now, I would say this. Minister Farrakhan had to pick up the pieces, brother.
Okay.
Now what? Wait. So, I'm just saying, you know, he had...
Look at it like this. Minister Farrakhan, and that's a perfect point because I didn't even think of that. You just sparked something when you said that. Minister Farrakhan actually had to clean up, pick up the pieces and rebuild.
Yeah.
But when he rebuilt, look at the magnanimous work that was done.
I would say that's a...
When the messenger was here, we didn't have...
He wasn't getting it.
And that's what I was just about to say. That's a different conversation because the Nation of Islam's focus audience has always been the middle class adults. Okay? It always has been.
Brother, Minister Farrakhan was like the father back
brother,
how the father was in the 60s.
But what I'm saying is, absolutely, brother, if you're with his target audience being middle class adult working men and women.
No, they weren't, brother.
Okay, so what do you think it is today?
I'm not trying to take away from Minister Farrakhan. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the Nation of Islam's target audience isn't the young boys and sisters that's in the gambling dens, in the dice halls, that's in the ghettos of hell. They not. That's why Minister Farrakhan picked up on Elijah Muhammad's program, which was to have an economic program, which was to have jobs, which is to have businesses, which is to go out and learn a skill or a trade. And if you don't have a job or business, we about to give you papers, we about to give you fruit, we're about to put you to work so that you can help to build your nation. That's a program for adults, brother. That's not what we talking about.
Brother, in the Nation of Islam, a lot of those brothers, you know, back then came from the prison system.
Even more to my point, bro.
No,
the majority of the Nation of Islam is adults.
Yeah, these brothers.
And you know that.
They hadn't been to prison.
No,
yet.
but not just adults, but even teenagers. And I mean, again, there's a junior F.O.I in the Nation of Islam.
Whom are what?
For years.
The children.
Right, but that's what the God just said. The junior F.O.I are the children of the F.O.I and the M.G.T. So these are the family. This is what I mean. We're going back to what I'm saying.
But brother, they go out and they teach their peers as well. They don't just have the knowledge and hoard the knowledge. We're not Masons.
Not saying
their
that.
job is to go out and propagate that system.
Like the God said, and I want to reiterate.
Yeah.
By no means, let's not turn this into something that make it seem like we're trying to take anything away from the works of Peace and Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan. You know what I'm saying? By no means. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what to make it seem.
Yeah, no. I know you brothers aren't doing that, but I just want you to basically understand when you just make the assertion or the statement that
nobody was teaching the babies in the street like Allah in the 60s, especially in Harlem. Yes.
Yeah, nobody was, bro. They wasn't.
In that damn time when the law was here, he had Harlem captured. But the youth, not the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam did not have the youth captured in Harlem in the 60s like Allah did.
And to your point of something that you was just saying, bro.
So let's use that. Let's just stick right there with that criteria. right
Yeah,
there. And so from the and what we're saying is from the birth of that, 'cause we're talking about Allah and what Allah did, and you want to say that in comparison to what Farrakhan is doing and is done. You understand what I'm saying? There's different factors to take into account when we start doing that. Because like you said, and like we said, the father wasn't here that long, but yet the impact that he made in that short period of time, you know what I'm saying? It says something about the power that he had. And we're talking about the youth. And I'm just saying, in that day and time, when the father was here in Harlem and around New York, the Nation of Islam, Elijah Muhammad, who was living at that day and time, did not have the youth in that area, in that day and time, like the father did. That's a fact.
I mean, but let me say this, because at the end of the day, like I said, it's not that we're going back and forth with who was greater than who.
No. You were saying about the assertion. You mentioned the assertion that was made.
Yeah.
And that's why the assertion was made, because the reality of the fact is that we are a product of that.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And that was the reality. Not to take nothing away from Elijah, because we already know Elijah had things going on at that damn time as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I gotta make this thing where it's more suitable and understandable, because Allah's effect in that day and time was in New York, mainly Harlem. You understand what I'm saying? And his impact was right there. Elijah's impact was all across America. You understand what I'm saying? So, not to I understand exactly, you know what I'm saying, what was going on. I'm saying, but I'm just trying to put things in perspective and saying from that nucleus that was born in Harlem from the 60s, that Allah made manifest. That's where we come from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that was a great movement in and of itself that was birthed out of that greater movement that was known all over America that Elijah, you know what I'm saying, had.
Yes, sir. I mean, again, like, it's not about, who had, the youth and stuff, Again, our whole thing is just going back to the root essence of where the knowledge of the science of Islam, how to clean up the black community, the most successful person, the first most successful person to do that in the wilderness of North America was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So what I'm saying is that any other movement or organization that came after the Nation of Islam, of course, would have to follow something within that program, if not the whole program, but something within that program. And what we're saying is that the father used what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, what he learned, of course, like in the military and everywhere, but mostly his military training within the F.O.I, and he brought that to the streets and gave that to the babies. And this is the reason why he was successful. But just to add to what I was saying before, the reason why the father was even more successful in what he did was he didn't really institute the discipline like the messenger did in the mosque. That's the difference.
He did, though.
That's the difference. Just imagine if the father hit the streets and he
was dealing with babies.
Right.
He was dealing with babies. He was dealing with the
children.
Well, Elijah Muhammad was dealing with babies in the junior F.O.I.
He gave them the option.
And that's why you keep.
But the thing is, right? But I'm saying, it's not that we kids is too tough for children. No. We have children in the Nation of Islam.
Well, and even that's the point that I want to make, bro, because you keep saying that y'all had about the children that y'all had in the Nation of Islam. Even I seen that somebody in the comments said that the Nation of Islam has schools for the youth. Let's be clear, bro. Okay, you cannot get this knowledge from the Nation of Islam. You can't get 120 from the Nation of Islam without becoming a registered Muslim, and you know that. So they are not teaching children that are not the registered Muslims of people that are in the families of people that's in the Nation of Islam. Like, what you got to understand, and even when fam said that these are the answers of Elijah Muhammad, man, these lessons go back. We can see proof of these lessons going back further than Elijah. So I mean, I would just say that you know that the difference is in what Allah did and came with something a little bit different in his own nucleus. He gave something to the children, as well as removing without a restrictive law. And I'm not saying that to take nothing away from what the Nation of Islam do, because I think they're very successful and that works well with their program and for adults and who they teach and what they program. I'm just saying that that there's a distinction there. That yeah, y'all teaching the youth, but these are the youth of registered Muslims. Y'all don't teach to go out on the corner and who we build with, and even what you said, like we not dealing with discipline. I'm not teaching nobody that ain't off the swine. I'm cleaning you up first. We dealing with civilization before we deal with any lesson. So I'm just saying, like, there is no a buffer there, and I think that even like what you were saying to your point where you said how what a law came with and I agree, it is an extension of what Elijah came with and what he got from the temple and all that. However, don't take away that he also added another piece that wasn't present in the Nation of Islam, and that's the language of supreme alphabet and the science of supreme mathematics. In the Nation of Islam, they teach to learn the language of Arabic and of the Holy Quran and different things like that. Allah didn't teach us that. I said in the Nation of Islam, they teach to know the language of Arabic, and they don't teach the supreme alphabet. Is my point. Is that Allah came?
Okay, pardon yourself. Go ahead. Now cycle with that. Even the minister has mentioned many times. Yeah, we know some Arabic, the Al-Fatiha, and things of that nature. No, we do not go around as a whole. 100% of us don't go around speaking fluent Arabic.
Okay.
That's not what you have to now, yeah. It may be given to us to learn Al-Fatiha.
So let me ask you this.
Things of that nature, but to say that, we are taught to speak Arab, no.
Quick question. Did the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teach the Nation of Islam a language, their own language, to learn the language of his that he created, that he dealt with? Yes.
No, I don't think that was his mission to do that. His mission was to raise the dead.
Wonderful. Thank you.
He taught in a way where even a fool, in such a baby way, or gave it in such a soft way to where even a fool could find it hard to hear.
No question about that, and I agree with you 100%. My point in that is that it was a law coming with the science that, because our firstborns teach us that the supreme alphabet is our language. That's what we speak. Power equality, Allah, seed equality. That Allah came with something that Elijah wasn't doing this. He wasn't talking about this.
Right, okay.
So this is my point. This is my point to what
time. Where did the phrase Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam and can prove in no limited time? Where did it come from?
It came out the problem book. We know
that. The language of mathematics.
Allah showed and proved that.
Right, and I said that.
I didn't say He didn't show for you, but we talk about the origin.
Absolutely. And my
we talk on something else and say, oh, well, he and
we dealt with that. Maybe you know
Allah came out. I can't hear you. And I'm sure you can't hear me.
We can hear you. I just think you may have missed that when we talked about that earlier, because we went through that with the problem number 13 earlier, and we met with the distinction that we came with, and even I went through that history with him, was that Elijah's answer to problem number 13 was different from Allah's. Elijah's answer is documented, and I got it.
Right, I'm not no doubt on that.
No doubt.
And I'm not.
What was Elijah's answer?
Wisdom, knowledge, understanding.
Okay.
Wisdom, knowledge, understanding, culture, justice, equality. Freedom, justice, and equality. These were Elijah's answers. It was Allah who seen and said, not wisdom can't go before knowledge. That's out of order. Abu Shahid told me that out his mouth, that it was Allah who seen that and made that understanding. And he told Shahid, he said, nah, wisdom can't go before knowledge. But go ahead.
Okay, before I also want to clarify and clear up some things, because I know once this gets seen and heard everywhere else, there's going to be billions of comments as always.
Go ahead, God.
You made reference to the hoodie I'm wearing that I, bought and saved this day, and that does have the national on it. And, it's going to be somebody on here. And he ain't God, because he said he'll win national and F.O.I. and blah, 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 blah. Can we clear the air of all that so folks understand?
Ew.
When it comes to, which my hoodie's upstairs, I'm about to design it, not design, but I'm an artist as well. And that's why I wanted to go in with that art. And I'm an artist as well, in every sense of the word, of art. And I'm about to design me another wood of 5% with the, the layout. And when I decide I want to wear that and hit the streets and go where I'm going to do that. Now, some may hear me say that and immediately gonna have a problem. Oh, he's supposed to do and such and this and that. So let's clear the air on that part right there before we, go off and, do what we're gonna do or whatever. So that those who answer or comment to that, it's not about clowning, it's not about disrespecting, it's not about putting one above the other, this and the other. They're my flag. I earned my 120. I am a 5%. I am a poor righteous teacher. I also did not register into the Nation of Islam until 2014. So from 94 to 2014, I was considered myself unofficial F.O.I. because I was not registered. So I didn't run from the 5% cipher right into the Nation of Islam. When I got down to the A, and I also want to make this point too, because this was also made mention of, I didn't leave Detroit and run down to the A to finish, my Jedi training. I left Detroit 120. Had I met guys here, I would have built with them guys. But I left Detroit because an opportunity opened up for me to go down to Allah's Garden. So that's where I went. When I got down there October of 94, I did not know Wakil, you God, and I didn't run into any gods down there from 94 until somebody took me over to Wakil's Rest. And that's when I first met Wakil in 95. And I met other gods from then on, from 95. Had I been down at 5 Points and ran into some gods, I would have met them then. Had I been at the Zulu meetings on Morehouse campus and ran into other guys, I would have seen them then. But when I went to the mosque, number 15 down in the A, I didn't, I didn't run into them. I ain't gonna say they didn't exist. Like, it showed forth and prove that, hey, there was some guys in Detroit in 93, 94. I just didn't run into them.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
And I mean,
want all that to be clarified so that it's clear about that. But
no doubt,
just so that's understood.
Yeah.
I do wear my universal flag. I got my hats, my caps, my scullies. I got hoodies. I got shirts.
Oh no! Hey God, I can see that. I can see that. No doubt, no doubt.
But see, that movie, somebody gonna comment when they see this on YouTube.
Oh, well, you know, they're gonna have all.
And they're gonna have ready to bomb, ready to throw.
They're gonna have all kind of comments. You already know.
Come on, bro. You was about to.
Like my man said, don't even pay attention to the comment section.
You was about to say something? Go ahead, bro.
Yes, sir. Yeah. No, I was just going to mention real quick, just to kind of go back to, you know, the mathematics. You know what I'm saying? All the elders, you know, the father, you know what I'm saying, from what I was, and this is from what I was taught, it was crafted from, again, the problem book, you know, like you said, you know, you got problem 13 you mentioned, but also when you look in the lessons, you know, now on the 40, you know what I'm saying, the 17th degree, and, you know, what is the meaning of civilization? If you look at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's answer to that question, it's almost like our supreme mathematics that the Father gave us. And this was written or done back in, what, 1934? You see what I'm saying? So I just want the brothers to understand that we're family at the end of the day. You know what I mean? But it's just that we more so stick with the root because we see, you know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as the root. You know what I'm saying? And all that came after the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I don't care if it was even the Crips, you know, the Panthers, the 5%ers.
I mean, I would say this, bro.
This is they even got knowledge, wisdom, understanding. My thing is, let me just make this quick point. It's a point of almost like if your teacher tells you 2 + 5 is 7, my teacher say 1 + 6 is 7, he say 4 + 3 is 7, he say, you know, we get together and we argue about, you know, knowledge, wisdom, understanding. At the end of the day, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was successful in what he did in producing a nation. And also is Minister Farrakhan today. So I don't think it's a matter of, you know, hey, was this right? No, the father had to come and correct that because, no, the messenger already had it corrected from the beginning.
I mean, and I would say this to your point.
Very near correct.
Very near correct.
The lesson said he did was very near correct.
Right. As well as, brother. Hold on. Just let me say this.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
Someone said it's very near correct.
Yes. That the lesson say that.
But again, when you look at the 17th degree in our lessons, it looks more like our supreme mathematics than does problem 13 from out of the problem book.
I would say this. I can see your point. Not in totality. I can see some of that.
No, not in totality. Not in totality.
What I would say is this though. If you're gonna say that, if you're gonna make that statement, we can show forth and prove that that Master Farrar Muhammad, because I don't bear witness that those were Elijah's answers. Okay, and I can show and prove that otherwise. Those answers and questions existed before Elijah. Okay, and we in Detroit, we can show forth and prove that. So those questions and answers existed before that, meaning that those who came, this was something that Master Farrar came with. So we can see the influences from several other places in the lessons, several other cultures, several other schools in the lessons, like certain things that Noble Drew taught, certain things that was getting taught in other places in the world, and other what they would call mathematical and Islamic centers in the world, from your, you know, other roots of civilization and other things, even in certain words. So it's like, do we then say, oh, okay, what's the real origin then? Because if we get to talking about the origin of lessons, we're gonna end up in India somewhere. You're gonna be dealing with Urdu and different stuff like that. So
here's the thing. We're not talking about the origin of the lessons.
When you talk about the origin of the lessons, you're talking about us.
Right.
Listen to what I'm saying. Let me finish the point I was about to make. This is a real kicker right here. You gotta catch this, please. We're not arguing the point about the origin of the lessons per se. Mm-hmm. We're arguing the point about the understanding of all of the lessons. Not just the lessons, but the Bible, the Quran, I don't care what ancient texts you bring, the Sumerian scrolls, the Enuma Elish, they all speak about a God coming in the last days of the Caucasian white man's rule, who is going to be raised up from the dead.
We're not questioning. That's not what we're talking about. However, like you said, understanding. With that being your point, Allah made a very distinct point to change the understanding of several lessons in those lessons to fit the guys and the young people he was teaching. The first lesson that he changed, from what I was told, because he started from the 1 to 40 down. The first lesson that he changed was the understanding born degree. Because in the Nation of Islam, where they say, have you not, do you hope to live to see the day when our prophet, W.D. Farrar, Master Farrar Muhammad, comes to take the devil off of hell in the very near future? That's what the lessons say in the Supreme Wisdom. Allah made it his point when he was giving those lessons to the firstborns to take Master Farrar Muhammad's name out and put the gods.
Is there documentation or
yes, the firstborns. The first brother, the firstborns.
No, not the firstborns, and that's word of mouth. I'm saying that's hadith. I'm talking about is there from the father's mouth, like some brother say.
Okay. You want to go? You want to go there? Hold on. We could go there. We could go there. We have gods who have certain gods' book of life, and I'm not about to be calling people names. We can build about it, but it's certain people book of life whom they took their book of life to Allah, and the law said yo, is this right? And he said that's right and exact. We still got those old guys' books that we still got on paper, as well as, that's what I said, those who got it from him mouth to ear, and this is how they got their lessons. We got ABG who was there, who said that he took certain things out for the purpose of the gods that he was teaching. So I'm saying, my point in saying that is, at that point, the understanding, because that's what I said. We can go all the way back. We can say where Farrar got it from. We could say what other things Elijah was studying, what Farrar was studying, because those wasn't Elijah's answers. It's proof of those being quoted before Elijah.
Where did Farrar get it from?
I would say he got it from the wise scientists of the East.
Okay. Did he get all of his information from, like one individual? Because the messenger teaches that there's 12 major scientists and there's 12 minor. But Master Fard Muhammad, it was said that he was the only individual to get the knowledge from each individual god.
Well,
each individual one of them, because the knowledge hadn't been shared prior.
If you study the theology of time, that's impossible. Elijah said that the scientists come once every 12,000 years, right? And that you had minor and major scientists. So if the scientists come every 12,000 years, how could one person sit with all of them? Meaning that was the metaphor, meaning that Farrar studied the sciences of all the past 25,000 years. That's why I say he traveled through the wilderness of North America for 20 years before he made himself known. He had to finish his study. He was studying from all of the scientists of the past 25,000 years. Elijah said it himself in the theology of time. The scientists came in 12,000 year intervals, brother. In 2,000 year intervals, I pardon myself. In 2,000 year intervals. And you had the minor and you had the major scientists. So there's no way that he could have sat with all the scientists at one time. He studied from all of the history. Go ahead.
That's not what I said. I didn't say he sat with them at
okay.
No, what I said was that he was taken to each scientist and he was taught the wisdom of each individual, and then he put all of that wisdom together to come up with a solution to free us, to come after his uncle in the wilderness of North America. But because remember, the problem book, the scientists couldn't figure it. They thought we was all dead. They was like, yo, there's no helping them.
Here's where you get to it. If you study the lessons and the teachings of Farrar, he give clues to those scientists. He mentioned their names. Usman, Sharif, Shabazz. He mentioned their names. Even his name. It's only one part of it's only
one individual.
Okay, you said Osman and Sharif was one individual?
Yes, and I've
beg
seen that in plus degrees with the M.G.C.
No doubt. No, brother. I'm not talking about that. I've seen the names of the first families of the Nation of Islam, brother, right here in Detroit. Okay, where you can go and see the first names of the first families that was in the Nation of Islam. You know what their last names were? Sharif, Usman, Yaqub, Ali, El, Bey. These were the names of the first families of the Nation of Islam, brother. The Temple of Islam. Yes. Yeah. The first families. Muhammad was one of them. Allah was one of them. You had Sali Allah, right? You had the Shabazzes, you had the Yaqubs, you had the Els, you had the Beys. Now, where Farrar get that El and that Bey stuff from, huh? Well, one person on the planet that was teaching that in North America. So are we going to say that Farrar got some sauce from Noble Drew? So,
yeah,
okay.
Of course we can say that.
So
that's not a teaching that we teach that. I mean, see, the thing is, we say that Master Fard Muhammad studied 42 years to come and deliver to be able to deliver us. So he learned all of the knowledge and the wisdom of the scientists in the East.
You don't say that was plagiarized.
And then,
right.
Say it again.
You don't say that was plagiarized.
You don't say that's plagiarism.
You would say that's plagiarism?
No, you don't call Farrar. You don't say Farrar was plagiarizing. Are we going to call Farrar?
No, I don't call Farrar.
Okay. Well, wait, brother. Brother, you called me up. You called the 5%ers. You said the 5%ers plagiarized this. And what you're describing right now is an elevation in a pass of knowledge through time. Farrar took something from Noble Drew. He took a little bit of this from these scientists. And then Marcus Garvey, he took a little of that. And Elijah passed some to Allah.
But none of those people said that the black man is God and the white man is the devil.
Elijah didn't say that either. Elijah didn't say the black man is God.
No.
What?
Huh?
Bro, are y'all? Don't tell me y'all about to quote the One Savior's Day speech, are y'all?
Are you serious, brother?
Elijah Muhammad said.
What did he say? The black man is God.
Please.
What did Elijah say those words?
Every time you see the black man, you're looking at God.
Right. You're talking about him saying that one time at his speech in the Theology of Time on Savior's Day. Elijah Muhammad's teachings was God came in the person of Master Farrar Muhammad.
That was the beginning. That was the inception.
Brother, that's what it is to this day.
No.
Okay,
brother.
so hold up. So you're saying that Honorable Elijah Muhammad did not teach student enrollment.
But I'm saying that it wasn't.
I'm asking a question.
It was not the primary teaching of Elijah Muhammad to teach that the black man is God. He taught it in a fine mist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold
on. So the student enrollment.
He taught it in a fine mist, and the father brought it out.
Well, I would say that it's a fine mist. Yes, it is a fine mist. Yes.
So the student enrollment is a fine mist.
It's a fine mist when you had to be a registered Muslim to get it.
And when the father drew it up and started making others going in the mosque, he was asked not to be doing that.
Right. And they told him, you can't do that here.
Okay.
That was one of the discrepancies between him and Malcolm, for what I understand.
You talking about rules instructor.
Yes.
The
a fine mist.
The student enrollment, the 1 to 10, is what it is. Who is the original man? The Asiatic black man, ending God of the universe.
Ain't no question.
That's not a fine mist. That's not. The rules is don't do this and do that with it. Then why still worship Farrar as Allah? Then why still worship Farrar as Allah?
Yes, we have, absolutely, brother. But even I was about to say that I like what the guy just said. To your point of what you just said, bro, is that if that was the case, and to your point where you said the original man you quoted the first degree in the student enrollment, why then still teach openly to everyone to your entire following, to your religion, and to the world that God came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad.
Because he did.
But you're still praying to him to this day.
We contradicting ourselves.
Hold on,
we
so
don't teach about the mystery God.
Now, right there, that's where it happens. When somebody throws some extra sauce on it. Unnecessary sauce on it.
What was the sauce
at? Pardon sauce. That's where it happens right there. Because no. It's not about getting this and the other. It's all about dealing with it right inside. Now, Minister Freedom Allah, you've been building for a long, or you about to leave, but you've been building for a long time, and going through this, that, and the other. Ain't nobody gotta throw something, throw a little something in there. And I'm not sure what your name is.
I see Allah. I see Allah.
I see Allah. That right there, unnecessary.
What was that?
Okay.
What was
because
that?
we have all of us, including
No. My bad. I had to.
What are you saying?
And just throw that little something in there.
What are you talking about?
What I do in there?
What are you talking about?
I do? What sauce I add?
You talking about me?
Not you.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
What you good. You're good. What I'm saying is, when you just made mention of, he said, did you read The Message of the Black Man? And you said something about God of the universe and the original black man. And why do we go pray to Master Farad Muhammad? And that he teaches Master Farad Muhammad is the God of the universe, and that y'all pray to.
Yeah.
Who said that?
Well, only reason I don't say that is...
You said that. No, you didn't say that, Master Freedom.
We won.
Master Freedom.
No. I see what the guy was saying, because they pray to Master Farad Muhammad in the Nation of Islam.
Okay, now, let me show you something. We just got through talking about the basically 24 wise scientists, major and minors. And there's always one who sits above as the God in that cipher. So, with all us black men is God. None of us has the sole supreme wisdom to lift us from a dead state to a live state.
How you saying that? How you saying that?
Hold on. Let me finish my point before you jump. Master Farad Muhammad came to do what he did in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. We didn't have that. And there was no black man walking around on earth to just do that.
Ain't no question.
Hold on.
I don't think we're not.
It's not a sermon. It's not a sermon about the...
He did.
You already know that. You preach it.
So it answers your own thought about it. Supreme.
He's not supreme to me.
Well, and no. Hold on, I see. Let me.
I'm the one to ask the question.
Here's the thing.
I'm the one to ask the question.
Well, let me say.
What I did was ask a question. You said I put sauce on. No, you said I put sauce on something, and what I did was I asked a question. That's what I did.
That didn't sound like a question.
I said.
Let me jump back on it.
How do you emphasize God of the universe in that degree? You emphasize that we teach that the black man is God of the universe out of that degree. And my question was, well, then how do you still turn around and bear witness that Allah is Farad is Allah, and you pray to Farad? How do you put them two together? You say the black man is God,
right?
And then you turn around and you worship Farad as Allah. I said, how do you do that? That's a question.
Can I answer that? Let me answer that question. Okay, well, again, Master Farad Muhammad, as I mentioned before,
Supreme
is the first God to
air.
come up with an idea, a solution on how he's going to raise up the black man and woman who were called dead. Because this was for hundreds of years, over 300 years. You know what I'm saying? We were dead to the knowledge of ourselves. Some of the scientists didn't. Let me finish, dog. Some of the scientists didn't know how they were going to wake us up or how they were going to come to us. Master Fard Muhammad was the
get your hand
God
in the air.
who sat over them, as the God mentioned, who had the solution of, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And he came over here to the wilderness of North America, and his job was to seek and find one individual that he can wake up or raise from the dead. That man, of course, was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad now is spoken of in the book of Revelations or in the scriptures now when they talk about the exalted Christ. You know, he's that one that, of course, the seventh angel, when his trumpet is blown, then the mystery of God will be no more.
So let me ask you this, bro. I got a question.
Can I ask this one thing?
Hold on. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, hold on, God. Let me finish building, God. Hold on. Hold up. In Message to the Black Man, I asked you, did you read that book? Because in there, the messenger tells us pretty much in throughout the book that there is no mystery God. There's even a chapter called there is who is that mystery God?
Now, let me ask you this. Hold on, God. Hold on real quick. Just let me say this. If what you're saying is true, and I hear that and I'm with you, then why do we see the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the early 1930s change what Farrar said he was teaching? Because what we do is we forget, we know the history, man. See, I'm a student of this history, of not only the history, but all of the history. And what we know to be true is, it was Elijah who then said that Farrar was God in a person, and that God came in the person of Master Farrar Muhammad, right? And Elijah, hold on, let me finish my point. Elijah left Detroit, went to Chicago, and began to teach this, right? Now, you got record of people in Detroit who was here, also here with Elijah, and before Elijah, and around that same time, who said that Farrar wasn't necessarily saying that. That Farrar was saying something else. So I say all that to say is, bro, that Elijah came with his own program, a religion. Elijah was the one who made Farrar the God to worship. Not Farrar didn't make that. That's why Elijah's brothers called him the hypocrite, because Farrar wasn't teaching that to them, and they predated Elijah. Then Elijah left, and he began to teach the religion and the mindset the way he saw it.
Okay, let's get through the whole thing. Hold on, pardon. Hold on. Let's make sure we get the whole thing. Okay. Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he completed the 3rd grade. That's actual fact. He went to the 4th grade and completed. All that he was taught to raise a nation was taught to him by somebody, not just a prophet. And going back a little further, the idea didn't originate with Master Father Muhammad. It originated with his father, just to be clear and give actual fact.
Yes, sir.
2, this man only went to the 3rd, 4th grade. So he couldn't have came up with a teaching to wake the dead with a complete 3rd grade education.
He changed the teaching. We ain't say he came up with it.
We ain't say he came up with it.
Let's say, now watch this. If we were Christian, and tomorrow somebody knocked on your door, rung your doorbell, and told you it was Jesus and I have returned. Now, we're from Detroit. After we unload on brother at the door and lay him all out, everything will be all good. We'll explain it later. We're not accepting that. So for Master Father Muhammad to teach that I am God of the universe, oh man, I ain't got no. I can't listen to this no more. I'm done.
Yeah, let me just say too. I know the brother probably got to shut it down in a little bit, and like I said, we could all, you know, I always come back and build with the brothers. You know, at the end of the day, you know, like I say, I see us as family. You know what I mean? You know, we both got the same father. You know what I mean? We got probably got different mothers or whatever. I see us as brothers. We both got the same, you know, upbringing or whatever as far as our father. But I just wanted to say. Just to go back to that, you know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Master Fard Muhammad, the idea of waking up our people came from the understanding, rather, let me be clear in my words, the understanding of how to successfully wake our people up and raise them to that living perpendicular, that 90-degree God angle, that, you know, standing upright, being an upright individual.
Y'all be quiet.
Those ideas were formulated in the minds of Master Fard Muhammad and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They both were builders of this nation of Islam, this knowledge that we're spitting today.
And we're not questioning that. What we're saying is, the point that we're making is, if you're going to say that Elijah and Farrar can come up with this supreme mind, and they were a man, just like Allah was. So if you're going to say that these two men came up with this master program, how are you going to tell me that it's not possible for Allah to then take what they gave him and come up with a whole new program of his own understanding?
Well, again, the understanding is that the black man is God and the white man is the devil. That's the understanding. That's you know what I'm saying? I mean, not really so much that we're Muslims or whatever, because there were other people teaching that before Elijah Muhammad and Fard Muhammad. You know that. You know what I'm saying?
It wasn't. Who else was teaching that? Who else was teaching that the black man was God? Prior to
Fard Muhammad and Elijah Muhammad were the first two teaching that the black man is God.
And even bro, we still haven't got past this. Elijah never said the black man was God. He said Farrar was God.
Brother, there's several places where the messenger said,
we all know the place. Page 72.
No one knew Elijah Muhammad.
You're making the exception.
Right.
You're making the exception the rule. You're trying to make the exception.
Teach us that we're gods.
Well, what I'm saying is,
if
someone asks you a question, who's that mystery God? And
ain't no question. You know, what I'm saying is,
that's what Farrar was teaching.
Right.
That's part of what he changed.
Right. Exactly.
That's what Farrar was teaching.
Right.
Who is that mystery God? There is no mystery God.
I'm not disagreeing with that's what Farrar, but I'm saying that trickled down to Elijah Muhammad too, as one of his students who was also teaching.
When he started talking about God, when he started talking about God in the absence of Farrar and saying Farrar was God, that was the change.
That was it. That's what we focused on.
Actually, it really was no change. No, listen, brother, hold on. See, this is the thing. When I was in the nation of gods and earth, there was a lot of stuff I didn't know. And then when I came into mosque, I'm like, oh, wow. Because as an M.G.C 5%er, I thought the same thing, that no, Elijah didn't say that, or Fard Muhammad didn't say he was Allah, or he was a God.
You don't get this information.
But no, in fact, he did, and it's documented, brother. If we were like debating and it was money on this debate right now, you know.
You said what's documented?
I'm saying, bro.
Hold on. I'm gonna just tell you.
He's saying that it's documented.
You can check
Elijah
historically.
said it was the black man was God.
Listen. I'm gonna just give you two quick references or sources that you can check.
We know the references.
No. What I'm saying is this.
Right there in Detroit.
No. What I'm saying is this. You are trying to make the exception the rule. We talking about Elijah Muhammad. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I understand that he said in Theology of Time, you looking at the black man, you looking at God. And I understand that he may have said it somewhere else. And what I'm saying is that the rule to his teaching was that Farrar was Allah. And that's who was being prayed to. And what I'm saying is that was the now you can find, 5 places where he made reference to God being the black man. But then the whole other dominant part of his teaching is Farrar being Allah. And that was the major change to the teachings that he instilled, that he instituted, and that was his doing.
Right. And one of the big examples I always think about, when people talk about Allah in the first universal rally, the first universal parliament in Mount Morris Park in 1967, how you had Muslims, a very famous Muslim, who came to that rally, who came to that cipher, and who made a big fuss about that, and said, brother, you know you ain't right saying and telling these brothers that you are Allah. He said, you can't do that. You telling these brothers you are Allah. And you know what history that I'm talking about. Why?
Yeah.
Right. Why did this Muslim make it this big point to interrupt this cipher? This in 1967, brother. Because the Nation of Islam did not teach that. They taught that Master Farrar Muhammad was God, and for the father to say that he was Allah, the Muslims was like, this was a problem. You can't say that.
Right. It was a problem because he was speaking out of turn.
How? How? I thought you just said Elijah taught that man was God.
I know, but see, when I build, I know I have a lot of shock value. See, I've been doing this for what, almost 30 years. I've been building with M.G.C guards, so it's like I know that shock value that, you know what I'm saying, I can have one. But I give brothers this analogy. If you had a daughter, your little 7-year-old daughter, would you teach her about sexual intercourse and how babies and how a man thing go up in her and do all that, baby? Would you teach her that at 6 or 7 years old?
Brother, depends on the teacher.
You wouldn't teach your child that because they're too young to really understand that type of
We just said that was in the
information.
student
Not
enrollment.
that it's wrong or anything like that.
We just said that was
but-
in the student enrollment.
Right.
That's the first degree in the student enrollment. The brother
Yeah.
just made an example
Yes.
of that. You were taught that first in the first degree. You was taught that.
Right. But in the Nation of Islam, that's not the first thing we get to study, though. See, among the 5%ers, see, the father did it a little bit, like, I guess you could say,
It's still the student enrollment.
Yeah.
It's still the student. It's still the student enrollment.
Yeah.
It's an
It's the
enrollment, but
so
you have
you-
to do several things first before you become an enroll.
Oh, we know. We know. We
So
know.
you have to first get your discipline intact, brother. You got to stop smoking. You got to stop cursing. You
Yeah,
got to
that's
stop
to be a
chasing
Muslim.
women around.
Yes.
That's to be a
Learn how to
Muslim.
pray.
That's
Yes.
to be
You
a
gotta learn-
Muslim. That's to be a Muslim.
We know.
That's to be a god.
No,
brother.
that's to be a
It's
Muslim.
to be a god.
Brother, that's
Hold
the
on,
restrictive
let me-
law.
Let me make my point,
No.
brother. Let me
That's
give you my
the
point.
way you see. That's the way you live it.
Hold on,
I'm
let me
telling
get
you.
to
That ain't the
my
way we do
punchline.
it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Go ahead, bro.
All of this is in our growth and development into becoming a god. Y'all got to understand that we were the only gods that was spoken of that would be raised from a dead level. We lost the knowledge of ourselves completely. So this was a completely different situation now that's going on over here in the Western Hemisphere.
So-
Master Fard Muhammad had to come over here and craft a whole nother type of understanding to give to us in baby form so that he can gain followers, which he had over 25,000 followers from back during that time.
Yeah.
Elijah Muhammad, the same thing. Because Elijah Muhammad came up in a Christian household as me. My family was Baptist Christian, Jehovah's Witness, a little bit here and there, but he had to craft something that was more along the lines of a Christianity so that he can reel our people in.
For
And
adults.
this is the reason why the Nation of Islam, and as 5%ers, we supposed to be doing the same thing. We teach our people mostly from the Bible.
Well-
We don't teach them the Holy Quran. We teach them mostly from the Bible scriptures because we know that's where their, knowledge, not understanding, but that's where their knowledge lies. In that book, they could quote it, they can do all of that stuff, but they have no understanding of it, right? So Elijah Muhammad had to reel us in through a religious, and as Allah says in the Quran, I give you Islam as a religion.
And bro,
this is really not no religion what you see going on in the Nation of Islam. This is a mathematical culture.
And
in
I would say,
the book it says Islam is mathematics, mathematics is Islam. So the Father knew by giving us the religion of it or the culture of Islam, he made that clear that this is a culture, it's a divine way of life, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught him.
Absolutely, and I mean, bro, I would say that could be debated because when you study things like what happened after Elijah died, how that same religion rocked the whole nation of Islam to sleep. You know, and then you see this where Farrakhan gotta start over. You know what I mean? And even it was him that said it was the gods that kept the knowledge alive in the streets. When Elijah's son threw everything in the garbage. The lessons.
That's also a fabricated teaching as well, because none of the brothers after the Nation of Islam was dismantled by Warisuddin Muhammad, or whom we call the Imam W.D. Muhammad, there was small pockets of F.O.I still in and around the country, still teaching supreme wisdom.
Ain't no question.
That the black man that we're God.
It wasn't doing what the God.
We're not saying.
Put that on the board one day.
You keep trying to make them small exceptions the
right.
rule. What we're saying is we kept the teachings alive.
Right.
On a mass scale.
Yes.
There wasn't a few pockets here and there. That's all. That's what Farrakhan was saying.
No. I was saying that in reference to after W.D. Muhammad.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
That's what we're saying.
After he did that, we kept that alive. Yeah, we kept that alive.
But it wasn't only the 5%ers who kept it alive.
So where they at? Where they at?
They're still here today, bro.
What's their name?
I put a video up on my
channel. Ain't no. I'm not.
Listen. Hold on. Brother James. I can't even remember all of the brothers' names off the top of the head, but I know one of the brothers from out of Atlantic City, Brother James.
Oh, and
there were several Muslims that were in the mosque that didn't agree with W.D. Muhammad.
And Farrakhan was one of them. That's why he said. He said himself. He said himself that the nation fell. He said when the nation fell, I bought 2 guns. So you know he acknowledged that it went through this period. However, what we're saying is, it was these gods in the streets to where you don't get hip hop from the Nation of Islam. That's not, brother. That's not.
You ever heard of Public Enemy?
Brother, no. He ain't going. I'm talking about before him.
Before who?
He wasn't the birth of hip hop. He wasn't the birth of hip hop, brother. You need to keep going back. We talking about Cool Herc. We talking about Cool Herc. We talking about DJ Red Alert. We talking about Queens. We talking about back.
All of those brothers were affiliated with the Nation of Islam. No. But I'm saying they went to the
brother. Wait a minute. Stop right there. If you ain't a registered Muslim, you not in the Nation of Islam. They was gods.
I'm not a registered Muslim, and I'm in the Nation of Islam. As long as we say as Muslim gods, as long as you following the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you are in the Nation of Islam,
brother. But you ain't good. You ain't in good standing with the temple. That's what that is. Brother ain't in good standing. Yeah. Okay. Well, we know the language.
Hold on.
What do you mean? He did that.
Hold on. Maybe as everybody's laughing, whatnot, maybe I missed it.
I gotta get ready to soon shut it down in a few minutes. But go ahead, God. Go ahead.
Okay. Did you make mention that you're not registered in the Nation of Islam?
Yeah, I was saying that to be a member of the Nation of Islam.
Said that.
Yeah, he said that. He said he's not a registered Muslim.
Yeah, I'm not registered in the Nation of Islam. I only served in the Nation of Islam when I was in federal prison. But on the streets, I've been to many mosques and fraternized with many F.O.I. in mosque number 7 in New York, mosque number 15 in Atlanta, mosque number 45.
Brother, but do you have a post in the Nation of Islam?
No, I don't.
All right, so you not in the Nation of Islam.
Wait. But the but is important. I don't have a post.
But is a contradiction, brother. But is a contradiction.
Hold on. Let me get it out. Let me get the punch out.
Please, man.
Come on. Let me get it out.
Come on, bro.
I don't have a post currently as a registered member in the Nation of Islam, but again, once you get these lessons, once you get the supreme wisdom package of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you get your general orders. Those general orders are always in effect. It's not just in effect in the Muhammad's mosque. They're in effect on the street. I'm not going to let nobody make confusion in or around my posts. I'm always going to walk my post in a perfect manner, being on the alert. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
As you should.
Okay.
My eye on
should,
temporal
bro.
property and view and you know all of the general orders and the restrictive laws, but those
Okay.
things
Let
are
me.
always in me, brother, whether I'm registered in Muhammad's mosque or I'm not.
I'm just
Let me
saying.
say-
I'm just saying.
Let me say this.
There's
Let
a
me say
difference,
this.
though.
Let me
That's
say
all I'm
this.
saying. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Okay. Registered in the Nation of Islam is in the Nation of Islam with the name in the Book of the Lamb. And like I said, for years, I consider myself unofficial F.O.I. I considered that. That wasn't thrown to me, bestowed on me, or none of that. So, registered in the Nation of Islam is an actual fact of being in the Nation of Islam. Affiliated is you live by the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the general orders and this, and this. But a registered is registered.
Right.
Okay? Because to
There's a
come
protocol.
in and take a rostrum post,
There's protocol.
it's gonna be a problem.
Right.
To come in, take check posts, it's gonna be a problem. Okay? No lieutenant, no captain. So yeah, we got to make that distinction clear.
Yeah.
It was also something else that I was listening to. That why did the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teach that the God came in the person of Master Father Muhammad after he left? Again, that goes back to him being taught, or only reaching the 4th grade, and he's being taught by someone. And what he was taught, he learned, he was taught by God in the person of. Now, if Master Father Muhammad's father could have come, there would have been no need for Master Father Muhammad. Because now you really would have had God, the black man, coming to teach and raise and so on and so forth. However, it was as if he had to give himself, along with the other 24 scientists, and put this into a prepared body, Master Father Muhammad. And he came because he was able to get through the threshold or whatever in order to get to us. That was the only reason why. But we're talking about a supreme
going to sleep.
being. We're not talking about that he's taking the place of, he's greater, lesser, he is more, this, that. No, he is who he was. Allah in the person. See, I've heard later on that, was it Solomon, Royal Solomon, said he is Allah in person?
Yes, sir.
That's, now you're saying something different. Now you basically saying you are Alfonso.
Well,
because now you're saying you are the supreme one of the universe. You solely. Not that you're coming in the body of, not that you are in the person of, oh, I am he, this, that, and the other. And again, no, Solomon, don't agree with that.
To your point, brother.
So I can see the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaching that, but you can't teach that and somebody's able to go up to him and say, hey, this man said you such and such. What you say? He's right. You come on.
I would say this. I would say this, brother, because what we have to understand is if you can say that a man, Master Prophet Muhammad's father came and manifested the knowledge to him, and then he came and taught it to Elijah, then it is to be no question that when the law comes in 1964 and then tells the youth, hey, the black man is God, he's saying the same thing. Mm-hmm. You know, because the whole science is, like even I said that earlier, you had people that Farrar taught other than Elijah, who didn't just say that Farrar was God. They said that they was gods. So I'm just going back to that point, like it was Elijah who came with this understanding of religion and something different. Yeah, we got the history here in Detroit. Them lessons was getting quoted before Elijah. Elijah wasn't the first one to quote them, ask questions and answers.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying that to say that if Master Farad Muhammad could come with the understanding that he was God and was teaching people that they was God, I don't see no difference than the law saying yo, the black man God to these youth. Because in my opinion, Allah was just bringing back to the forefront what Farad was teaching. Because Elijah was saying, because but the difference is this. Even if you listen to Allah in the Otisville tape, he talks about his wife, and he talks about the Muslims and how they keep saying that Farad is God, and that Farad is gone, and he gonna come back one day, and that they talking about Farad is God. Allah said it himself on the Otisville tape. If you listen to the Otisville tape of Allah speaking at Otisville Reformatory School, and he said, Farad said Elijah is God. So, and Elijah said, meaning that my point saying that Elijah is a known fact, and I can keep giving examples from the Nation of Islam of how they teach that Master Farad Muhammad is God. And I'm not saying that that's not right, because he did come in a person in Detroit and reveal the truth. I'm just saying if that they could say that Elijah is God, then I could say that Allah is the God and that the black man is God. He came to me. The Muslims ain't come to me. The Muslims wasn't going in Big Walter's basement in the gambling den in Harlem on 125th Street. The Muslims couldn't go in Big Walter's basement because they was drinking down there. So Allah did.
I mean, the only point again that my thing is that it's just stages of growth and development. You don't go out there and tell a child something that's not fully developed yet, and put information in his or her head that they could possibly misuse. Especially if the individual is still probably getting high on whatever. Drunk off or whatever, still probably eating pork, eating, pork or things that have pork byproducts. If they're not, they may have stopped eating pig feet and pork chops, but they may eat things that still have, lard or whatever in it. So the thing is, there's no ancient civilization on this planet that has instilled a secret knowledge or a mystical knowledge. You know what I'm saying? There's no mystery school that gave knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to an individual without inculcating discipline at the same time. No Shaolin monk school, no monk school, no nothing, nowhere. Every piece of knowledge that deals with the esoteric knowledge, if I might add, not just regular knowledge, but when we talking about raising a human being from a dead state of thinking to a living perpendicular as a god, this is an esoteric knowledge. So everything has to be done in stages of degrees. Everything has to be done so that the individual can grow properly. So if the father comes out and just says, hey, the black man is God. It's like when I first came in the mosque, and this was Brother Charles. This was a brother down in South Carolina that, he was in the mosque the same time in New York when the father was in the mosque, up in Temple number 7. And he was like, the father, he didn't stay long. It's like he heard that, and then a few years later, he was out the door. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, boom, that's all I need to know. Black man God, I don't need to know nothing else. And he was out the door teaching the babies.
He got the best part.
But the thing is, in his mind, he thought he was doing a good thing, which he was doing a good thing.
Well, I won't even say, let's not even say his mind, brother. The Allah, there was an estimated 80,000 5%ers in between 1964 and 1967. And there's hundreds of thousands to this day that come from his line.
But let me ask you a question. Let's say if the father would have took a different approach and he would have hit the streets and he would have gave these teenagers lessons, but also implied discipline on them.
It wouldn't
That's
work.
what the mosque. That's what the mosque is for. That's what the mosque is for. That's what the mosque is for.
And that's why we was
That's why
taught
the mosque got
Allah.
it. That's why they did
No,
it.
And he
brother,
sent-
that's not what the mosque is
Yes,
for.
it
That's
was.
what the mosque is
It
for.
is.
Hold
The
on. I
restrictive
just
law.
gave you an example of every ancient school, mystery school, or that teaches high science, esoteric knowledge. Discipline is instilled in the adept or the student
And
along
brother,
with the knowledge
And
and the
listen,
information.
and maybe you didn't know, discipline is definitely instilled in our culture as well.
Even in your
Bro,
household,
listen
you
to
teach
me.
your children
You may be
knowledge
missing
that-
something. You may be missing
ahead.
something. Remember,
Go ahead.
Allah, and I built with the firstborns. I built with the ones who, the God, like the great Subah, certain gods in Mecca. All the firstborns learn martial arts, God. All of the firstborns and all of those first fruit, there was a strict discipline that still ring bells to this day. Where people get to talking about, yo, you can't come out the house if you didn't know your math and your lessons.
Man, the father has so many 5%ers turning themselves in.
Oh, that's another good one.
With
Where the-
towels and
Peace,
toothbrushes
God.
in their hand, ready to go and do
Turn
time.
right. In the jail, in the New York jails, had them turn themselves around. That's documented. That's documented history.
Because you're trying to imply that we have no discipline.
Yes.
No. Well, listen to what I'm saying. The discipline wasn't a strict discipline because it's a
It wasn't
it's a
forced.
known fact.
It wasn't.
Hold on.
It wasn't forced.
It wasn't forced.
The father didn't teach
Hold on.
nothing about force.
Right.
I thought Islam said you don't. The father didn't teach nothing about force, and I thought that the brand of Islam that you did would say that there's no compulsion in Islam.
Ooh, peace, God.
There isn't no compulsion in Islam.
Okay, so he taught discipline, but he didn't do it by force. It wasn't a
Right, but-
restrictive law.
Right.
The law wasn't a
Wait.
restrictive law.
Right.
He didn't
Well, let me
need
ask you-
that. He left
Well,
that. That's what he left
right.
for. He left that behind. He didn't want that no more. That's the very thing that he said he could do without.
Right. I don't need no woman telling me that this man is God over me. You saying that Farrar is God, and he was talking about his wife. He said she just like my mother. Jesus, 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 Jesus. Meaning that his woman was stuck on religion because she was believing more in Farrar and Elijah than him. That's what he was talking about.
I think the point that's being missed, like I said, is that
There's no point being missed.
The
No,
father
with you.
did,
There's
the
no-
father
there's
did
no point
have
being
some
missed.
sort of discipline. The father did have some sort of discipline, but we're not just talking about
Everything at the butt don't mean
a
nothing.
defense, martial arts, defense, fighting, and that's a form of discipline. But I'm talking about discipline to the fact of, are these brothers still getting intoxicated? Are these brothers still going in and out of prison doing
Well, brother,
crimes?
listen.
The
This one
brothers in the
thing.
Nation of Islam wouldn't have had to step to
Are
brother
you
to
out your
And that's cool.
goddamn
And
mind?
that's cool.
Are you out your mind?
And that's cool, bro.
Are you
And
out your mind?
that's they
Are you out your
teaching.
mind?
That's they teaching. I would say this, that Allah was
You
very.
think brothers in the
what
nation ain't doing crime? Are you sick?
We ain't even gonna go
I'm
there.
not saying, brother,
Well-
I'm not saying that the brothers in the Nation of Islam weren't doing
That's what
crimes
you
either,
just
but
said.
I'm just saying, when you look at the 5%ers as compared to the brothers in the Nation of Islam, most of those brothers, when they left the prison system, they didn't return.
Good deal, bro. And to our
That's 'cause we
point,
came from up
and
under
bro,
the prison.
that's why I was saying earlier that Elijah's teaching was geared towards adults. And even that, if you listen to Allah on the Otisville tape,
Towards what?
adults, it was geared towards adults. It was geared towards adult men and women. And even
But
to your point,
how could we say that when Brother Malcolm, when he was in the nation,
was how old?
there
How
was-
old did Malcolm come in? How old was Malcolm? No, he wasn't.
They
No.
were college students.
No, Malcolm had just
That's the
been.
youngest
He
college
just been.
students.
He had just been
It
6
wasn't
years in
only college
prison.
students though, brother. It was college students and it was high school students as
Okay,
well that
but-
loved Brother Malcolm.
And brother,
Everybody loved
everybody,
Malcolm. We said
everybody
we-
loved Malcolm.
They
We're
were
not talking about
attracted to
that.
those Black Power organizations back then.
Absolutely.
In the 60s.
But the problem was the youth, the incorrigibles, whom Allah caught, they wasn't interested in the Nation of
You
Islam
said- you
because
said
they
it
wanted to
yourself.
smoke and drink. You said it yourself.
About yourself.
I was dealing crack, brother. I was doing drugs. I didn't want you.
You
just
weren't
talking about
going to no
you
mosque.
talking
You
about
weren't going to that.
shave my face. I got to stop smoking, stop drinking. So when we talk about Allah, we know for a fact Allah sent brothers back to the mosque. He told brothers
That's
to
a
go.
fact.
He told brothers.
That's a
Ibika was one of them. And he
actual
said,
fact.
go back. Okay? Just like he sent some brothers in the jail.
brother Alama, who the God, the OG, the older God Alama, who just went returned to the essence. He was one of those brothers back there in the '60s who I interviewed on my channel. That the father, he went back to the mosque too.
Oh, well, no. And to that point, it was brothers that went to jail on purpose to go teach, and we see the knowledge of the 5% spread like wildfire in the P9 institution. Okay, so I'm saying that to say that he knew that the youth that was in the gambling dens, that was in the dice halls, they wasn't hearing that restrictive law shit. They was hearing Malcolm, they'd go in there and listen, and they walk right back out.
Right, I was one of those type of dudes.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that to say is to your point. If a law would have came with the restrictive law, it wouldn't have worked because it wasn't.
But I only say that to just combat what you were saying as far as but look how many youth and look how fast it happened.
But it was the truth.
That's the reason why, because there was a little bit of discipline, but the discipline was you could still come around a father, blow trees, or you could so
and brother,
it wasn't. It was attractive. Hey,
I would say this,
but the knowledge was on fire, though.
And even
the knowledge was on fire.
The knowledge was on fire, and we still know this works to this day because the youth ain't changed.
The youth haven't. Well, the youth technically have because New York City is full of Bloods and Crips now. It's full of,
It is. But what happened?
Remember, the father got rid of all of that.
But what happened?
That's a good point.
The guys got older. The guys got older, and we now have to build. We now have to take things to another level to attract these same uncivilized youth and new unconventional manners.
That's an actual fact.
And new unconventional manners, and this is what's happening right now. So I'm just saying to say that.
And a lot of them youngsters, down that way, a lot of them. Their old dads was gods in earth. And they all got righteous names. Not all of them, but a lot of them got righteous names.
And all of them, even them Bloods and the Crips in New York, they all say, a lot of them say peace. Yeah. And they know it.
When can I build with y'all brothers again? Cause
we got to get up out of here too, man. Let's do this again. We'd love to, man. What I do is I hit you offline, man, and we can schedule something, man, and put a bill, man. I'd love to get old Wakil in here too, man.
I'm sorry, but I don't know if y'all heard all the notifications, but
Oh, you good?
Some of the Muslim guys is hitting me. Brother Boris hit me.
Oh, you all good? Let's look. And I got some gods. My phone been blowing up because I got a lot of gods that want to add on. So let's connect offline. Let's get together, bro, and we can put this back together, man. All right?
Sure indeed.
Yeah.
Like I said, any questions, whatever, write it down, whatever, and you know what I'm saying?
we got
most honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches, we can debate in the best of manners.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we civilized. We civilized, bro.
Civilized, exactly.
We civilized.
So it's definitely, I love y'all brothers for this, man. I appreciate it. You know what I mean?
Oh, no doubt, man. I appreciate you. Taking the opportunity to come through with us, man. Seventruth, you too, God. I appreciate building with you, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And just hit me back whenever, God, and we can definitely line something else up again. Anytime in the evening is good for me.
Let's do it, man. What we do, man, is we do our podcast on Tuesdays and Fridays, man. So we're gonna put something together and get you on the podcast, man, and get your whole crew, man, and we'll put it together.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Say no more, God.
All right.
All right, Lord. Well, yeah. Let me get out of here because I was supposed to have been going. I'm looking at the time.
Well, peace, fam. It was great building with you, man. Thank you for hopping on with us, man. Seventruth, man. You got anything you want to add on before we jump off?
I just wanted to make knowledgeable on to exactly what it was, and again, for those who see the previous build on YouTube, guys sitting there eating ice cream, guy moving around and all that. It was my understanding of Fahiym.
I caught the God off guard, you know what I mean? I ran up on him or caught him off guard, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So everything was not done to disrespect anybody, any cipher, and disrespect etiquette, anything like that. To me, it was a conversation. This is more so clearing of the air and getting some things exercised and getting out. And for those who are seeing it, Hopefully it gives you correction and gives you a better knowledge of what all of us on here had to say, share, spread, and so forth, so a better understanding can come up out of this.
Word.
So,
Word.
And you know,
And with that, I say peace.
Peace.
Peace. And with that, I
peace
say,
to the gods.
next time, you know, instead of going over more differences, we're gonna go over more similarities.
I know that's right.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's it. That's
Yes.
it. That's
Yes.
what the beasts don't want. You know what I mean? That's what they don't want. You know what I mean? They want us to keep dealing with the differences, but like you said, we're gonna deal with the similarities.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? So yes,
Word
sir.
up. Let's do it, man.
One more thing I do have to say. Y'all two guys are in Detroit, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. On the strength of y'all flag, which one of y'all been the piece of populace?
Oh man. I don't personally
right
go myself.
Right
I like
right
Jerry's
there.
pizza. I like Jerry's pizza.
Look at him. You say compared to pizza popular?
Pizza on earth? And you go to Jerry's? Bruh.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. You know, I'm not a real big pizza fan, but however, I do bear witness the pizza popular thing.
Yeah, pizza
number
popular's
one.
good. They
You know,
good. They
but you
good.
know, I'm a Sweetwater man myself.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, the guy.
Hey,
Yeah.
you know when you I'm from Brooklyn, and you know, and as far as pizza, you know, I grew up with a lot of Italians.
Yeah, oh yeah. When you all got the famous slice,
Yeah,
you all got
they
the
got
famous
some flavor.
slice.
Yeah,
Yeah, get you the slices, you know what I
The
mean?
thin
You
joint.
know?
Yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah, man. Let's do this again, man. We definitely appreciate y'all, brothers, man. And
Yes, sir.
y'all be safe and be peace, man. And we'll see y'all soon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Peace to God.
Peace.
Peace.